It's going to be a real crazy one if Bozo Bunch managed to pull it off, but we're about to get into it right now. Bozo Bunch and EKC, a shot to face the Sad Boys here. Game one about to be underway.
And I'm just honestly very excited to see how well both Breads and Soren will be piloting these aggressive goalies here, right? Because I feel like it's quite a contrast to most of the matches that we've seen today. Because the goalies just they're less of the Marcos, less of the Atlases, less of the lockdown back characters, and more so of the ones that want to get involved on the front side as well. So we'll see, I think it's going to come down a lot to the execution. And yeah, we're looking at a scaling game, right? If you're checking the Awakenings, everyone went for Spark of Agility with the exception of Soren, who went for Siege Machine. That's such a strong Awakening for Amy as well, so we'll see how this is going to start off.
Yeah, whoever's able to procure those sparks early on is definitely going to have a big-time advantage. And we're starting off with a KO there from Drop Leto, an early power play. It's going to be both barriers here. He's looking for the point. Bull Rush to X Maximus will confirm it there. 22 seconds in, and Bozo Bunch will go up on the board despite all odds and starting out strong here. But yeah, I gotta agree with what you said earlier. We see a lot of melee goalies in this meta, and these two have decided that they are going to go a totally different route this game. It's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how well this X is going to scale, because as of right now, Droplet already doing such a great job at utilizing this X, putting so much damage into NXCD right there, and just being so oppressive on the front half of the field as well. Core basically not even able to get into the defensive side of Bozo Bunch as they're playing it so well right now.
Yeah, EKC, they got a real aggressive comp here, but so far they have been shut into their side of the field, keeping Katsuna and Soren locked in the goal box. It's been a really good job so far of Bozo Bunch doing that. A nice flip from Dropletto, but blocked by Glitch Pop from Soren. The turret's going to come out. They're looking for the KO on Dropletto here. NXZ's hunting for it. It's going to be the Cyber Swipe from Soren that actually picks that up. And now EKC with a little bit of a opportunity to try and find some breathing room. Soren, though, can't get close enough for the core. It's a whiffed strike that sees the second barrier fall. And Dropletto coming back online now. Set things back to neutral. NXD looking for that second barrier. Katsuna trying to send it back in, but just can't get it past I. And Dropletto in the top side. A flip from Soren will save the points. But it's still one barrier to none. As I and Katsuna battle over this top corner. Bozo Bunch trying to clear it out, finding some kind of way. Soren getting a little bit ambitious on that Cyber Swipe, has to fall back. That was almost dangerous, but now I and Dropletto able to push all the way up, and Dropletto's hunting for a KO. Some revenge on NXZD here. The X Maximus runs out, but meanwhile, in overtime, the core moving quite fast, and Bread is just holding on to it for so long. NXZD can't get a good angle on this barrier, and so far, EKC struggling to bring down this final lock.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for them to find a good angle here, as Bretz is just holding such a strong, aggressive defensive line on a Finny character as well. Of course, just keeps on going back to the side of the EKC. They keep on having to defend, and with enough time, a pick like the Amy is just going to have some holes open in the defense. And you saw that right there, because Bozo Bunch has taken a very convincing first set, and will be able to get a first dibs at Awakenings here as well. Looking at stuff like the Fight or Flight of Octavia is definitely something very, very nice for Regret to pick up here. Answered is likely to be by Amy by mayhaps a Timeless. The Spark goes down to Exto, accelerating that snowball even further. So interesting to see how heavy the damage output by the X is at this point, as more Awakenings fall to each player.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tough draft there for EKC to have to navigate. Can't stop I, and Soren, the only one, didn't take a spark. He's going to have a hard time denying that spark in really any good faith, but continuing to build around the turret might be the answer here. NXZD did get the heavy impacts, which is going to be very helpful on the Centauro, though we'll see if the extra size on Dropletto might be a little bit too much, as Bozo Bunch got the core and immediately just started bringing down barriers, and now they've got yet another open goal situation here. Just looking to get the core past NXZD so far, holding on to it, looking for the double dash. Not going to be able to find it there. But now it's Soren in the goal box, and Dropletto and I pushing up. The Creator Maker coming out. Dropletto with a shot to the middle, keeping the pressure on. NXZD on the defense slowly holding it down. Soren looking for a nice sort of pseudo Soren angle there with the glitch pop to get it out, and there's a firewall sentry on defense. Finally able to push that one back, and Katsuna picks up the KO. The super surge damage coming in, and now it's a power play for EKC.
Power play on the board as they're trying to set up an attack, with a lot of damage being dumped into Katsuna here, as they're doing a really good job on the defensive end for Bozo Bunch to just hold down this barrier for even Gret to come back now. Loses almost the entirety of their HP bar though, but the Crater Maker sadly goes south as the core does find its way into the net of EKC. Very unfortunate.
I hate to see that, a little bit of an own goal moment, but that does mean Bozo Bunch now scoring 4 times in a row unanswered. EKC struggling a little bit here to find their footing. Bozo Bunch's kickoff has been consistently better as well. They've been getting at least one barrier almost every time, and EKC has... It feels like they're having to do so much just to get it off their side of the field, and by then, NXZD only has 1 or 2 tries to bring down the barrier, whereas it feels like Dropletto and I just constantly putting on the pressure here. Reds does go for the flip. We're seeing a lot of damage coming out for both sides. Katsuna not looking healthy, but going for the KO on Dropletto. NXZD also going to pick up the stagger here. Not quite able to land the Oni's blade. Dropletto fighting back with throwing some hands. Should be able to recover, assuming he doesn't get too close to the wall, though. Everyone playing around this center, hunting for these KOs, trying to trade it. Finally, Dropletto healed up, and now NXZD the one about to go down. The Katsuna pushing up with the core. Soren here as well. Drops the firewall sentry. They're hunting for this final barrier. A nice clear from Iron Breads to the top side there. Will keep it held down. Meanwhile, Dropletto able to pop the X Maximus and find the KO. Find the power play here for Bozo Bunch. Drop has a flip available. He's just looking for the right time to use it. A little bit early on that one. Forces out Soren's flip though. Katsuna now the one who's staggered, but NXZD is back. They're hunting for a KO on Dropletto. They want some revenge. The damage just doesn't seem to be there. There's the Crater Maker. He's trying to find the angle to the corner, but not quite right. Gets launched into EKC's goal box. And now another power play here for EKC. NXZD opening up the goal now for the first time. Firewall Sentry getting dropped. They want this point so bad, but Katsuna just struggling to hold on the core here. Goes for the flip to the bottom, but Eyes in the way. And they just can't find much of anything now. Dropletto's just back online.
Yeah, the strikes from Bozo Bunch have just been so excellent, just keeping the core in areas where it's so difficult for AKC to really get a proper attack going, to really get a lethal attack going. And that play that Bozo Bunch is putting down just really makes it difficult. And you can see that by the score as well, as EKC currently still trying to chase their first goal of this game. As kickoff has again commenced, core back into the side of EKC though, and Dropletto really showing the strength of the X, with the X Magnus just taking a beautiful double barrier there, as the core now bounces back and forth, trying to get it over to EKC into any kind of lethal situation. Meanwhile, Katsuna taking a lot of damage as well, more damage being dumped onto NXTD as well there, as Gret now is charging up a flip, has it available, might want to try use it as well to confirm this set for the side of Bozo Bunch.
You just might gonna go for it. The Crater Maker in the way, but Dropletto in the out clear, able to recover that. And Bozo Bunch now taking a 2-0 lead in set, 6 points unanswered. They're looking good on this map. Gonna be the MVP as well. Another spark showing up here. We're also seeing Twin Drive and Stagger Swagger. A lot of nice options for Bozo Bunch to pick from.
Yeah, most definitely. Their Spark of Resilience gonna do so much for I to stay alive here, right? To be able to deal with all of this damage output, because looking at the draft, there's not really a nice way for Bozo Bunch to deny the damage. So instead of trying to get rid of that Deadeye that's gonna go onto Katsuna, opting for the HP, the survivability, definitely is gonna help a lot more as well. Dropletto being able to pick up a Stagger Swagger here as well, gonna help so much, because the damage output from the side of EKC is looking rather scary at this point.
Yeah, they've slowly been building up quite a bit of damage. We saw some come out onto Dropletto here. Their real target is if they can constantly kill but with a Fight or Flight now, the double Spark of Stagger, it's definitely going to be a challenge. Dropletto might be the real target. We'll have to see how they're able to play it, but with all the pressure Bozo have been generating, it feels like it's been difficult for EKC to really focus a lot of that damage, especially from Soren and NXZD. So we'll see if they can turn it on here in these sets. But right now, it's all Bozo Bunch just pushing these corners hard. They'll manage to get the second barrier through the turret, and they're setting up for some passing plays now. I taking over in the bottom corner, but Dropletto goes down. The damage online, and EKC scoring a second barrier here on the power play. Might be able to take the point as NXED setting up for the Oni's Blade. Bread's making the clear, though. Captain and NXED still trying to take player advantage. Dropletto coming online just in time to try and make something happen, and I able to recover the core and steal the point away. Bozo Bunch continue coming out on top.
Yeah, and it's just such a stylistically difficult decision to make for EKC now, because they have a lot of damage, they have a lot of KO presence, but at this point, who you're really going to be pushing for, right? Because the Octavia has so much HP at this point with this double spark. It's so difficult to hit as well, having a fight or flight on them as well, and Dropletto has Stagger Swagger, which is not making that much easier either. So it's really a difficult choice for them to figure out where are we really dumping this damage, who are we really going to be playing for, as they're needing to find an answer pretty soon though. As again, Bozo Bunch is playing a very, very excellent set of Omega Strikers right now.
This is their comfort zone. A shot from I, a nice save from Soren, but Dropletto able to get the core in time. Bring Bozo Bunch to a quick match point here. Looking like game one might just be a formality at this point. I mean, you already see the level difference. I is level 8, NXED stuck at level 1. Unless a miracle happens, it looks like Bozo might just have this game wrapped up.
They just need to find this last goal. They need to make sure that they now don't get too relaxed though, right? Because there is still very much the threat there of the KOs, the threat from EKC. So they need to make sure they close this up nicely, because EKC is currently in your half of the field with 3 flips to their name, as well as they find another huge KO on Dropletto there, being able to get the second barrier there as well, trying to set up, have 2 flips to their name. Do they need to use them? Not flipping just yet though. Core still trying to get an attack going, but Dropletto is back on the map.
NXED might get KO'd before he has a chance to use it. He will! Dropletto, the X-Maximus, brings him down, and now the tables have really turned in favor of Bozo Bunch. They've got the power play. They're looking for this final barrier. Soren forced to flip here as well. The energy advantage totally swinging. I does whiff a flip there, but the Crater Maker coming out from Capsule takes Octavia off the board, and Oni's Blade on the goal line. Bread somehow saves that. Wins a strike war again. Bread's holding it down right now, but it's not enough. NXED finds the slice and dice through both of them, and EKC will put themselves on the board on a match point situation.
And you need to grab the momentum you got from this goal, right? Bread's doing such a good job defending, but in the end it wasn't enough. If you're EKC, you want to hold on to this momentum, you want to carry this over to the set win and then have it go further. But Bozo Bunch is having absolutely none of it, as they just swiftly get rid of both of the barriers. It is being answered by NXTD here though. He's getting rather low, so does need to be a bit careful. Dropletto though with a beautiful stash and X-Maximus just dashing up front, getting the strike, getting the score, and getting the game one in favor of Bozo Bunch.
Solid game one there from Bozo, only giving up 1 score, and it took everything that EKC had to make that one happen. We sort of questioned the Octavia pick a little bit in the beginning, but it paid huge dividends. I is pretty proficient on that character, and even in this meta, can still make it work. Looked really good there. 139 redirects on I, 47 shots. Not bad for a 12-minute, 50-second game. And EKC, this was just clearly not their map. Bozo Bunch, I mean, they just picked comfort, it feels like. I mean, EKC kind of picked comfort as well, but I mean, I feel like it's a little bit hard to immediately know how to answer that without some major shakeups in the game plan.
Yeah, most definitely, and I feel like the characters as well just really had difficult head-to-head situations, right? And Amy has a rather difficult time defending against an X if X gets close range already, so on the defensive end it was difficult to execute. You need to find some kind of way to handle an Octavia in the midfield when they do have the awakenings, they do have the control on the map. And the Luna and Zentaro aren't necessarily going to be the best at holding core control against that Octavia. So overall, I feel like very much a statement game for Bozo Bunch coming into these playoffs. So saying, yeah, we might be seed 5, yeah, we might be starting from loser's bracket, but we're still here to take it all. We're still here to compete. And it's definitely a very, very strong showing for them on their own map pick here. However, That was their map pick. It's expected they're going to do well on that. We'll have to see how well they're going to do on Atlas's lab, which is EKC's map pick.
Absolutely. The synergy really coming together. Bozo Bunch have been playing pretty well toward the tail end of this regular season, and they look like they've absolutely locked in for that one. We saw EKC definitely made some mistakes there. A few night market angles that weren't great. A little bit of mispositioning defensively. We saw that Crater Maker, a little bit of mistiming on that. So definitely some things that EKC just need to clean up in the way that they're playing in this series so far. And moving over to Atlas Labs, we'll see if this will be the wake up call that they need facing elimination. But Atlab, another map where anything kind of flies. I would not be surprised if we see very similar comps to what we just saw. I think Bozo Bunch, we typically see the Luna get banned against EKC, but I think Bozo Bunch, unless it's a Deadeye start, will likely not ban it. And they're just going to try and get the X again because, that's Dropletto's character, right? Breads has a few options he can go for, and so does I. So this is going to be, I think, really a draft that EKC is going to be the ones who are going to have to figure out. And it's a fight or flight start, Siege Machine again. So one pretty universal awakening, one that's a little bit more specific. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're literally going to see very similar to not if almost the same game plans here coming out. Fight or Flight again being such a strong awakening for a pick like a potential Octavia, which makes me wonder as well, maybe EKC is starting to maybe look at taking away that Octavia in the ban. Obviously, that would then leave open potentially a Rune or a Now that could be picked up. So it's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams will approach it, as Atlab is also really a map where, like you mentioned before, anything goes. You can go for just pure speed and force the core through the defenses, or you could just opt in for more damage again. So I'm curious to see how EKC is going to be approaching this, as they are the ones that need to find something. They're the ones that have to answer, because Bozo Bunch, like you said in the last game, they gave the Luna. They called it out. Not doing it this time though, as Bozo Bunch will opt to ban out the Luna.
Yeah, they're not playing around this time. They know how strong the Cats and the Luna is, so they're gonna take that away. And there it is, EKC, like you pointed out. We'll be banning the Octavia. It will be a first pick now, though, for Bozo with the Fire Flight. Just as scary. I has a very scary now. So, it's really a pick your poison for EKC. And, well, they chose Fight or Flight now over Fight or Flight Octavia. Juno X coming in for EKC, so they'll be taking the X off the table as well. I think that's a pretty solid move. Bozo Bunch most likely going to go for an Asher or something here. To keep things going. Curious what Bread's pick is going to be. If it's going to be the Finny again, or if we'll see an Atlas or Erasmus or something. I think that, there's a lot of ways they could go with this. You see the Juno, though, and I think they're going to have to be picking around that.
Yeah, most definitely. The Finny's not necessarily going to be the easiest matchup into a Juno, but doesn't matter in the end. Asher and Finny do get picked up, so they do still play that Finny and Net likely and put Asher up on front to just force it through. Curious to see what Soren is going to be picking up for Net here as well, then, as he's now faced with an Asher basically in front of him at all times. And the thing is as well, with a fight or flight start like this, you can pick immobile forwards like the X and like the Asher so much more easier as well, as that fight or flight just enables you so much more once you do get to that core. The last pick coming through now, Mako finding its way to EKC there, holding it down more defensively, maybe going for a bit of a safer option this time as well, as the Amy last game did not seem to work out quite the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, they wanted that big aggressive push, and Bozo Bunch did not allow it. So I think it's a smart move to just go Mako here and sit on a barrier and hold it as long as possible, especially against Asher, right? Asher gonna have a little bit of trouble forcing it through Mako. So I think that's a good pickup for EKC. And that speed boost as well. You mentioned the fight or flight is going to be helping out X quite a lot with the Mako buffs. It's definitely one of the more iconic duos that we've been seeing. So we'll see how Bozo Bunch is able to keep up. They have the now Asher. They're going to be getting, they're going to be moving pretty fast. They have the Finny in the backfield to keep that pressure on at all times. Once again, This might be coming down to Katsuna's defense and the ability to just get the core off of their side of the field without expending too many resources there. Meanwhile, limiting what Bozo's able to get per push. But I think as long as Soren can hold that one lock, I think we'll be all right. And I'm going to guess again that Soren's going to go Siege Machine and everyone else is going Fight or Flight.
This does seem to be likely, in my opinion, because Fight or Flight, just for every single forward, it's just such a high value awakening. It just gets you everywhere so quick. And if you're looking to the goalie side on Bozo Bunch, Siege Machine, although possible to pick for a Finny, I feel like Fight or Flight also just enabling that Finny to hold a little bit more of aggressive lines. Definitely going to be a solid pickup for them. And yeah, you said it just right? Mako has to hold down this one lock, which she's going to be doing a pretty good job with on AtLab. Really, the only thing that can be going through the Mako like that is either a complete ability dump from the side of Bozo Bunch using the Asher, or there is still potential for the KO, right? Yes, you have a Now and an Asher on Bozo Bunch, but they have a lot of passive damage by just playing around the core, right? They have a lot of AoE that will just hit the enemy while you're actively chasing after the core as well. So maybe that in combination with a few solid Finny hits might already be enough to threaten even more KOs. So EKC still have quite a task ahead of them. However, this time around, I feel like they have a much easier to execute comp, and they are on their own map pick, which hopefully will give them more comfort as well.
Yeah, I like what EKC is cooking here, but one game away from elimination. Bozo Bunch and EKC game 2 kicking off now. We'll see if they can make it work. They got the bans, they got the denies that they wanted. See if they can bring it all together here, but Bozo Bunch, if they bring the same energy they brought last time, it's going to be really tough. And everyone going Fight or Flight here, so I was a little bit wrong on my predictions. Strike Shot as well for Soren. NXED going for the slick kicks, all the other forwards on Mag Souls again.
Yeah, just really speed is the name of the game as we're now going into the lobby here. Both teams now having taken one of the locks already. Damage is being pretty much put out there though, as Dropletto down to basically no HP, just really tanking a lot of abilities from both Soren and Katsuna. But NXTD also not looking too healthy here, as both the brawlers seem to be suffering a little bit. Meanwhile, the goalies and the midfielders trying to set each other up to get an attack going, but neither barrier dropping just yet.
Yeah, I think this is kind of what we're predicting to see here. Soren is just sitting on that one barrier. Meanwhile, Breads is kind of hovering around the midfield line, just trying to provide some help. A big black hole pop there, almost set NXTD off the map. Soren using that drum and bass to actually keep the forward alive away from Dropletto. Still getting bounced around here. The Acerto's coming out, goes wide eye, goes for the core flip, but Soren holding it down as we head into overtime here. Breads is going to have a flip up right about now. Still one barrier standing. Dropletto with the core. Soren will use the primary, force him away. Find the clear though, but they're going to look for another attempt. A pass splitter comes out, gets evaded. The NXED trying to take over in the top side as Katsuna sending the pass in. Can't get it past I though. I still just moving too speedy with that Fight or Flight. Dropletto looking for the shots. Can just go to the top side and it will be good. Bozo Bunch going to start off game 2 yet again.
Yeah, Soren really got hit pretty hard on the defensive end, right? Having lost that second barrier makes it so much more difficult for Mako. It's so much easier to hold on to one barrier instead of trying to defend an open goal, and you just really saw that as the court just kept on going to the side of EKC, and they couldn't really get any proper counterattack going. At this point, however, though, starts off completely different as they take one barrier, take the second one as well. NXTD close to being KO'd here, but Core still largely in control of EKC.
Yeah, EKC, a rare barrier advantage like this is something they'd like to take advantage of, but it goes down very quick. Dropletto finds the perfect angle and just a textbook pass to I. Everything coming crashing down with that point. All of a sudden, Bozo Bunch saw the opportunity and made it happen. The drum and bass wasn't quite able to hold that top barrier. You hate to see it, but now Bozo Bunch on set points. And EKC is looking a little bit grim for them at the moment as energy's coming up for Bozo Bunch. We'll see if they have it in them to close out the set, or if EKC will find the strength to come back.
They do need to find something rather soon. Both the barriers now taken again. NXTD down to being staggered as well. Needs to be careful to not be taken out. Katsuna does have a flip available if needed. Doesn't opt to use it just yet. Now uses it, tries to get the barrier, but a smart strike from Gret will hold on to it as they're trying to set up another attack. But Brett's trying his best, not quite able to hold on to the barrier though, as now we have 2 open nets. Brett trying to get an attack going with Dropletto there, but again, damage is really being put into them, making it more difficult to really set something up. A nice strike shot from Soren will delay that attack a bit. He holds on to the defensive end, has a flip available to his name as well if he does need to use it. Holds onto it for now though, as now Core in front with an XCD, not quite able to get an attack going for themselves though, as again, Bozo Bunch just really on the attack end here.
They're keeping it up, but pass splitter getting blocked out there pretty early on. Soren finally gonna burn that flip. Tries to hit it around to NXZD. The triple take actually redirected it right to NXZD and set him up perfectly with that angle to the bottom side. EKC gonna put themselves on the board here after a long volley of a point now. Pretty even energy. I think they have the opportunity to take, make this set even and possibly take it, which would be absolutely huge for them. EKC, NXZD going crazy with the X-Max, both barriers gone, finds the point, doesn't even need the flip, but burns it anyway. And just like that, it's tied at set points.
Really well executed. On the previous point, NXCD having beautiful patience, and on this point, positioning so well to get that pressure going, making use of that X, making use of that brute force that character is. And seen again on this kickoff as a barrier immediately drops. Bozo Bunch though, ready to answer, trying to get a bottom barrier here. Gret has a flip available as well if they do need to use it. Top barrier drops, Dropletto trying to set up with the pass splitter, not quite able to get the barrier done, but the flip from Gret will secure it as Dropletto tries to force it through Soren, but Soren with smart strikes holds on to the goal, but not long enough, as eventually the core gets forced through by Gret as the first set goes to Bozo Bunch. However, a very much a better showing for EKC in this first set compared to last game.
More promising showing indeed, and Bozo Bunch though still getting to reap the reward. Siege Machine showing up again as no one took it in the starting draft here, but potential nice awakenings here will be going for the rapid fire after waiting for just a second. Built diff going over to Soren, 1-2 punch on Katsuna's Juno. Stagger Swagger falling down to Dropletto, which is actually a really big pickup, I think. And Spark of Rezil on the X, and Bread's just gonna pick up a second Spark of Power right there. I mean, wasn't a crazy draft there, but I think Bozo Bunch kind of came out with a lot of things that they wanted. They will have to watch out for that 1-2 punch on Katsuna, though, but you got Stagger Swagger on Dropletto and Rapid Fire on I. If there's any way to generate more pressure, I think those are the awakenings that you want.
Most definitely. I feel like both teams being able to pick up something there is going to be good for them, but a barrier has been dropped now on EKC's side again, and Bozo Bunch again trying to set up a nice attack there, not quite able to get the second barrier as one now drops on the side of Bozo Bunch. Core bouncing back and forth. Katsuna doing a really good job utilizing these Juno blobs to just be so oppressive, and they just get much more oppressive once you do have that 1-2 punch. But again, the side of Bozo Bunch doing a really good job dealing with them, denying them as much as they can.
And energy slowly getting built up here as it's 1 barrier to 1. See the pass splitter here from Dropletto, trying to force through with a dash. A flip on the barrier from Drop will bring it down. Flip and return from Katsuna trades the barriers though, but it's an open goals on both sides. I is looking for the point to the bottom. Soren's got the big strike though. It'll clear that out, but it's right back around to Dropletto and I. Looking to work some magic. Poor flip from Soren, blocked by I's primary, now Dropletto looking for the dribble, but the slime from Katsuna seals it away. NXCD on the top side. I able to interrupt that and bring it back around. A core flip blocked by the Mako primary. Now NXCD dribbling up the field with a bell ringer. Core flip from a Breads. Passes it to I. Soren finds it clear though to the top side. NXCD trying to reach for it. Can't make it. Gets KO'd in the process. Back into Bozo's goal box. And now it's the power play. The snare drums coming out onto Dropletto. They can't line up the pass splitter. But I still trying to force this bottom corner with the secondary. It'll be enough to get through those slimes. Bozo Bunch score yet again.
And just such great combination play from Bozo Bunch there as well, holding on to that core control, finding that crucial KO as well, and just turning that situation around. And you can just also just kind of see the game control, or the way the game is being played out if you pay close attention to it. I wanted to point out Gret's level, but cannot do that right now as Gret has been taken off of the map. by the side of EKC. Power play in favor of EKC now.
Big moment for them. Oh, what a save by Breads to keep that barrier alive. EKC not getting anything off of that. Still 1 barrier to 2, and now the damage is coming onto NXED. Dropleto's got a flip available here, bringing out the pass splitter, just pushing hard onto Katsuna. Got so much speed off of the fight or flight from that. And just dashed across the field. Now a flip in between the barriers, looking for the doubles, gonna find it. And it's an open goal for EKC. Dropleto trying to find the pass to Eyes, gonna get cut by Katsuna. And actually on the return, Breads can't get there in time. It's an open goal for both sides now. As Soren up in the midfield, trying to force this past the Asher. Dropleto dribbles off the barrier though, and takes out Katsuna. It's another power play for Bozo Bunch. Winning a strike four on the bottom side. A core flip here from Soren. Clears it out just in time. It baits Eye's core flip, but it doesn't matter because Dropleto is able to touch the core again and sink it home to the bottom side. Bozo Bunch now on set points.
And that set point is so important for them because they would be going up 2-0 in this game already. Just really, again, setting the momentum of the game. Momentum right now going completely the opposite way, though. It's EKC with a swift double barrier into goal. Well executed.
A 7-second response there from EKC to keep things interesting. A familiar situation the previous set. If EKC need this, they gotta go all the way here, and snare drums are gonna come out offensively there from Soren, and that'll lead to a barrier. But Katsuna taking a lot of damage now in the process. NXED looking for the second one, so can find it with the X Maximus, but Katsuna having to leave the play for a bit here. And now Dropleto's turn to potentially respond, pushing up, going to get Sad Boy's angle. Soren tries to go for the reverse Sad Boy's angle, but ends up getting the barrier anyway. It also does earn Dropleto's flip, but now Dropleto and Eye looking for the second one. The core slipping away from them just a bit here. Is NXED with the flip available in the box, blocked by the card. Now it's Katsuna on the top side. Core flip here from Breads to clear it out. Battle over the midfield is Dropleto trying to force it back through, but the ensnare drums shutting down that play. Dropleto able to recover. A pass down to Eye as they force up to the bottom side. The pass splitter coming out. Core flip from Soren sends it to the top side where NXED is looking to put in some work. The big finish comes out. X Maximus is popped. They find nothing. And now Dropleto wants this barrier, but Soren just holding on to it with the Mako. And this is what we expected to see out of this pick. Dropleto still looking for a good angle, but Soren is just everywhere, blocking every shot. Dropleto having another chance here, but Katsuna is in the way. We see flips are available for each midfielder. Deep into overtime now. Just one good shot could end it all. NXED in the top side. Katsuna looking for the angle. Goes for the flip to the top side. Blocked by everything. What a shot from Katsuna. Bozo brought out the wall, and Katsuna found the one crack in it. And it'll be tied 2-2.
And again, we find ourselves at a 0.5. Last time it went in favor of Bozo Bunch. This time around, EKC trying to change that story, though. As Gretz has taken a lot of damage, and NXED on the offense with the X Maximus being able to take both of the barriers here. It's such a dangerous situation for them to really be playing around here. It's a lot of damage is being dumped. Core goes back to the side of EKC. First barrier now being taken. Bozo Bunch answering immediately, though, as we're now back to having 2 open goals. Attack trying to be set up here from the side of Bozo Bunch. They do have a flip on Breads as well if they do need to use it on the defensive end. Has to be used right here to defend the Blobo from Katsuna. As now, of course, going back and forth. NXED has a flip to their name soon. Soren might have to use flip, does use it, but misses it. As the attack keeps on going from Bozo Bunch. The core does find a small hole, though, as it does go back into neutral play. But again, now an attack going for NXED. Has a flip, walks up, finds the goal, and finds the first set for EKC in this series, and a much important and a very important set. That set is.
Absolutely. They battled back, and they're going to get potential good things here. We see Demo showing up on the board as well as Catalyst. Another Spark as well. It will be Spark of Agility here for NXED to go along with that Spark of Rezil. Has a few options here. Going to wait it out. Looks like they're going to ensure Dropleto gets something. Catalyst denied by Soren. Will force that. Extra special here will be picked up by Eye for more mobility. Demo going over to Dropleto. Aerials for Katsuna for that good dash range. And, well, Bread's not left with much. Just picks up the Might of the Colossus. Bread's unfortunately kind of just been relegated to cleanup duty at the back of the draft here. But I got to say, that Demo's cool on Dropleto, but I really like what EKC picked up there.
EKC is more than happy with what they're able to pick up. That spark of agility for NXCD is going to enable him even so much more, being able to pick up that speed, that extra HP as well. And Katsuna with the aerials having so much more impact on those Juno jumps as well. Definitely a very, very good draft for the side of EKC. Can they make most use of those awakenings though, or are they going to be ran over as again, Bozo Bunch, just a solid attack.
Nice KO here, and Soren forced to burn the flip. Does get a barrier off of it against the power play, but still needs to hold for just a little longer. NXCD back online here. A lot of pressure coming out from Bozo Bunch. Katsuna and NXCD looking to retake possession now, pushing to this bottom side. Katsuna trying to push it back in. Quick to respond, and we head back to the midfield now, where Katsuna setting up some blobos, trying to force this top corner, but Dropletto just being a wall on defense and coming back to hold it down. Now transitioning to Bozo Bunch. They've got some energy coming up, but NXCD looking for a breakaway. The big finish has to be used there. Force it in, and now in the corner, X Maximus getting popped. Katsuna with a shot to the top, the 1-2 punch, making this go so fast. No one thought it was going to go back up to that side, and Katsuna was ready for it. EKC gonna strike first now in set 3, and for the first time in this series, they will take the lead.
And they need to continue playing well to extend that lead. Funnily enough, on that last point, the aerials coming in for Katsuna as well, as it made it solely possible for Katsuna to reach that core and connect it with the blob. We are in the next point right now, though, and a lot of damage again being dumped. However, not a lot of KOs being found directly, as the core is just bouncing back and forth. Control trying to be gained from both teams here.
One barrier remaining here for Bozo Bunch. NXCD a little bit hurt, but 2 flips available for EKC, soon to be 3, if they can just manage to hold on to it. NXCD going for the X Maximus. The big finish going to steal that one away. As EKC looking to get this offense, but just shutting him down every angle, and the damage dump comes out to NXCD. And now it's only 1 flip left for EKC against the power play. Looking for a shot to the bottom, casts it a little bit. Soren gets the chance to flip, but it doesn't matter, because right back on the return, Bozo Bunch are able to force it in and tie the game.
And Bozo Bunch just doing such a good job playing off of these advantages, right? They found the KO on NXCD, and they were just really able to keep the core on the enemy side again, really making use of that power play. So really what they're trying to be playing for here is finding that KO, and it seems to be working out just well for them. But it's not a necessity, as they take the first barrier already.
They're looking for a second one, too. Has a flip available, and they're just forcing EKC into that corner. EKC able to find a little bit of breathing room here, but it's just right back in. The is just running circles around NXCD in this midfield. This now just moves so fast with fight or flight. But with the core, trying to force it into this top corner. Can't find too much off of Soren there, though. And it will be NXCD picking up a KO onto The power play for EKC is back. They can just get something going. Katsuna hopping down to the bottom side. That's 1 barrier. They're setting up for a second one. Off of the Blobbo is going to be found, and an open goal on Bozo Bunch's side. That's Dropletto and both alive. Try to find their second barrier, but don't find a whole lot. It's just right back to Breads in the box. Flip has to be burnt there, but NXCD still holding on to his. Waiting for that opportunity. Katsuna with the Blobbo, trying to get it back around. The pass splitter, though, comes out from Dropletto. Soren burns the flip. Baits out Droplettos as well, as we get sent around the world a bit. Soren still holding onto this barrier. Puts some big damage on Now NXCD in the top side, looking for the chance to flip. Doesn't burn it yet, but goes for the X Maximus. Hunting for the KO on Doesn't find it here. Still holding onto the flip. It's actually Katsuna with the Blobos. Set up in just the right spot. Wow. Dropletto, it looked like he won the strike war against it, but the Blobbo was still there, and it just shot it directly back at him with the 1-2 punch in overtime. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, these Blobbos are just so oppressive, especially with that 1-2 punch, and that's something that you need to be concerned about if you're the side of Bozo Bunch, right? You do need to make sure that this Juno doesn't get to scale even further, and as it's standing right now, EKC is looking to win this set as well, and as another set win for EKC could result in another strong awakening draft for them, as they do find the goal as well. And now you need to be a bit worried. There's still a hotshot in the pool. Is that gonna go to Katsuna or not?
Yeah, there's still Spark left as well. So we're in the MVP here. Hotshot will be showing up. Katsuna's 3rd pick. Looks like Breads wants to deny that away. It does mean Deadeye, Missile Prop, Timeless, and Manu will go unpicked for this Finny, but I think Breads has become accustomed to the role that he must play in this game. Deadeye going over to Soren. Pot shot denied away by Breads. Glass Cannon, though, is picked up by Katsuna, which is pretty nice. But Dropletto does get peak performance, one of the better awakenings in the game, and Drop is already moving really fast on this Asher. This is going to be even more. Monumentalist picked up by NXED as a deny against I, but now I has primetime rapid fire. I gotta wonder if that deny was really worth it.
Yeah, it's such a difficult thing to weigh because now I has that primary to win basically every strike war in existence so often. But then again, Monumentalist might be such a heavy tool for them to help with control, because as it stands right now, EKC is doing a very good job holding that midfield control, using Katsuna, using those Juno Blobos. So you want to deny it as much as possible for the side of Bozo Bunch. You want to deny being able to combat that extreme control that the side of EKC currently has. As the Sad Boys angles, goes around the top barrier though.
I really like what Bozo Bunch was able to find in that draft, though. Their builds are definitely coming online here. Soren forced to flip on the goal line to get it away from Dropletto, but it's still going to be 2 flips available for Bozo Bunch in just a moment. Now is Katsuna up to the top side. Breads makes one nice save, but unfortunately he's trapped in the corner. Now it's both sides opened up. Dropletto looking for the shot to the bottom. Soren goes for the clear. Dropletto will find the dash on the cross net angle. Bozo Bunch striking first here in set 4, looking to retake some control in this game and bring this to a set 5.
Yeah, most definitely. Bozo Bunch wanting to close this out in this set, not wanting to have to go to a game 3. So, very important set for them to find success in, as now the core is bouncing back and forth. One barrier down on the side of Bozo Bunch. Is it going to be a second one? No, Breads though with a nice flip clears and finds a KO as Soren tries to go for a nice control, but sadly drops one of the barriers. Is able to hold on to the second one for now though, as NXCD has a flip as well. Can use it defensively if he needs to. Not quite needs to right now though, as the 1-2 punch Juno will get the attack going.
Now watch out for Dropletto though, building up this energy quite quickly. Bozo Bunch is on the hunt. Nice strike war here from Katsuna, brings it to the top side. NXCD gonna flip on the goal line. X Maximus for security, and they'll sink it in. EKC tying it up now 1-1. Soren still with a flip available, but it's gonna be 2 up for Bozo Bunch at this point. We've seen what they can do with that energy, and how quickly they can build it up.
Yeah, most definitely. Energy plays such a huge role in this game as well, right? Because these flips are so lethal on a map like Atlab. Damage now finding its way onto Gret. Needs to be a bit careful. Has all the evades in the world, but they might want to hold on to them to have a flip as they to get an attack going, as Core is now trying to be set up for an attack for Bozo Bunch, but they just have such a hard time getting past Katsuna Juno. Those blobs are just being so oppressive with that 1-2 plunge. Flip coming up from Dropletto in front of the barrier, takes the barrier. As now Soren has to defend an open net. Brett running up, trying to get a flip to get the goal in, but not quite able to find it just yet.
Katsuna having a fall back here. NXCD also taking a lot of damage. A nice secondary drone there from I. Placed it right on Dropletto. And Soren wasn't expecting that. Dropletto was too far from the core to actually touch it. But the Now Mine was. And that set up that point. And now Bozo Bunch are on set point here. They have a flip available on Breads. So far keeping that black hole up for kickoff, but then popping it afterwards. We'll see if they'll be able to close out this set, or if EKC can bring the set back to find the game. But Dropletto, so much pressure coming out, gets it around the back of one barrier, finds both in the process. And suddenly it's a really bad situation here for EKC, holding on to an open goal. Dropletto just zooming up the field right now in this bottom corner. I trying to get the corner offense going. A pass to Drop. Katsuna able to strike with that one away, but a flip pass from Breads. Banks it off the bottom wall. Katsuna, though, able to recover. Will find one barrier off the play. They need to find another one, though. NXDD taking a lot of damage, has to burn some of that energy that he worked so hard to earn. And now I, with the flip available, is pushing up in the bottom. Burns the flip here. The Blobo from Katsuna blocks that one. They need another opportunity now. Katsuna up to the top corner. Breads, that will pass down to I. Looking for the breakaway. Dribbling up the field to the bottom corner yet again. Going to drop the primary. Forces Soren to flip to the Blobo. And that'll send it out to the top side just before Dropletto has a chance to flip. NXED bringing down the barrier. Now a flip here from Drop to the center. Blocked by Katsuna. And they're still both sides opened up. NXED with the shot. But Breads a little late on the triple take. Katsuna's credited with that goal, and EKC on match point.
Yeah, Bozo Bunch being a bit too hesitant with the flip there. Dropletto had a chance to flip in front of Soren to get this last goal for the set and force a 5th set, but don't need it apparently, as they find a clean double barrier and get an attack going almost immediately. Soren being able to hold on to the point right now, but the core sneaks its way around Katsuna, and we're going to a set 5.
Just like that, EKC flipped the tables, and then Bozo Bunch flipped them back upright, I guess. And now I is the MVP. The final spark showing up here, but we also have Titan's perfect form, twin drive, heavy impact, so many good awakenings, more size on the board. It's going to be interesting. NXED, the only one, well, I guess Breads has sparks as well, but it will be heavy impact here for I. So even more cooldowns available to this now. Perfect form going over to Katsuna. Twin drive here for Dropletto. Will be a good deny against Soren, who's going to settle for the stacks. A second spark here for Breads. That first spark finally paying some dividends, as it will be a good deny, but does mean NXED gets big fish for the size and some more stagger. I gotta say, I think everyone got something really nice there. And it's all just coming down to who plays better in this final set, I think.
That's immediately taken off of the map was Dropletto. That was swift. That was swift. And a lot of damage jump finding its way into Gret as well. Where's all this damage coming from? EKC not here to play around, making a statement.
Yeah, suddenly they managed to focus their abilities or something. And they almost got 2 KOs to start off, but they will get 2 barriers to start off. I also staggered. Has to fall back and get the orb here. You Dropletto with the core for just a little bit. But NXED zooming around the map, striking it up the field. A nice strike war from Breads on the line. Will save that point. But NXED still with possession. Trying to force it through 3 of them here. Soren up to Katsuna, but Dropletto and I quick to recover. A little bit of a mistake on that secondary, but they'll get it right back, no problem. And now pushing from this top side. Core flip comes out here from Soren, gets it past Dropletto, puts him in the ensnare jumps to buy some time. But Dropletto is looking for a flipping opportunity. However, it's NXED who finds one, gets the KO with the flip onto I. It's a power play for EKC. Katsuna is staggered. Dropletto's hunting for the KO, but they might be able to just make this work anyway. Katsuna passed down to the bottom, can't get a good angle to NXED there. And I will come back online now. Katsuna another shot toward the bottom side with overtime speed. But the pressure's too much from Bozo Bunch, and EKC will lose their second barrier. As Katsuna jumping up, bring the blob up. Bread's forced to flip, and NXED blocking those shots, though. Taking a lot of damage for it, but still playing up in the field. Katsuna looking to win a strike war, but Dropletto saying no to that one, and now working his way back up the field. Dodges the ensnare, drops a pass down to I. Is cut by Katsuna, looking for the blobbo. Bread's able to save it. But now Soren in a tight situation. I forcing this bottom corner yet again. Primary to get it through Katsuna. Soren finds that clear angle. Perfect whip around the black hole to NXED, who's able to sink it in. EKC will come out first in set 5.
And what an intense point that was. The core has just been flying everywhere. It's just such a volatile situation. Any kind of team makes a small mistake and your barrier is gone, if not already the goal. So very little room for errors for both teams here, as they're doing their best to get attacks going, to get these barriers down. And both teams having a really, really great showing so far.
They're looking really nice in this set 5. EKC finally decided to wake up and play some real Omega Strikers. And right now they've got the barrier lead here. Will get traded off of that far shot, but NXED is really hurt, having to run away. Dropletto was hunting for that KO, and Soren had to put him in jail for it. Now 1 barrier to 1 barrier. Tied up as Bozo Bunch are looking for the point to actually tie it up. And NXED is just holding on to this core so long. That second spark is actually like providing so much speed. It's sort of insane with the fight or flight on this X.
Yeah, it's just literally everywhere where he needs to be. As the attack now gets found, the barrier drops now as well. Katsuna on the attack with a flip. A KO being found by the bell ringer there, as we're now in a power play for EKC. Are they going to be able to find the second goal of the set here? It will be huge for their momentum if they can find it, and NXED forces it through Gret. 2 flips on both Gret and Obscure Brets, but neither used to defend, as EKC is now 1 goal away from forcing a game 3.
Now looking very strong. 2 flips to 2 flips for potentially this final point. Bozo Bunch will start off with the first barrier here as they push for a second one. Use that drum, slowing down their advance a bit. The big finish looking to recover. Now Dropletto from the top side. Pushing in hard. Eye goes for the flip, but doesn't find the core. Now Soren with the flip to try and clear it out. Gets one barrier on the return, but Dropletto, it comes right back to him. He'll pick up the second one. He's dribbling. He's looking for the barrier beam. It's cleared out, though. Now Eye and Bread's forced for the task. Eye taking a lot of damage here. Will heal back up. Dropletto holding the core. In EKC's goal box flip here from NXED defensively. He doesn't go very far at all, though. And they still got to get it out of this goal box. Soren looking for a nice angle to clear it out. But that's NXED getting taken off the map. A power play for Bozo Bunch. Brett's just looking to get the core back up the field as quickly as possible. Katsuna looking to thwart that as quickly as possible. They'll buy just enough time. NXED is back, but they're still in a dangerous situation. Katsuna with the slime, looking for a back pass. Dropletto able to cut that, though, and turn it into a push. Looking for this top corner. Has the flip, dashing in. Goes for the flip and just barely misses it. Now flip here from Brett's, blocked by NXED, but Eye teleporting back up the field. Dropletto looking to catch it with the barrier beam, but comes up just short. Now Eye with the flip available, goes in the bottom corner, blocked by the X Maximus, and the push goes right back to EKC. They'll come in from their top side, dropping the Blobos, the triple take in the way, and a nice Blobo shot from Katsuna opens up Bozo Bunch's side of the goal here. Soren looking to rotate it back around to close this one out. NXED walking up the bell ringer, a shot to the top. Dropletto with the strike war. It's just going to have to be another opportunity here as NXED strike war lost again, but we'll have a third chance here. The triple take in the way, looking for the pass to Katsuna. Katsuna going to jump down the bottom side. The Blobo in the way, and yet again, the 1-2 punch coming up just enough for EKC to bring it home, and they'll take game 2. We are going to a game 3.
And what a game 2 it was. EKC really finding the groove in this game. Soren holding it down on the defensive end, just making it so much more difficult for Bozo Bunch to really get their game plans going. And so much damage as well. If we pay close attention to the damage numbers in this game, the lowest amount of damage being dealt was 27,000 by Soren. Bozo Bunch definitely had a game plan here of trying to get these KOs, trying to play off of man advantages, but every single member has at least 40k damage, but it all just totals up to roughly 6 KOs. So the side of EKC just doing such a good job playing against that damage, playing against those KOs, and just making sure they're not taken off of the map for free. And it really paid off for them in the end, as they now were able to find this game win.
Yeah, a huge comeback for them. They look so much better than they did in that first one. And now going into game 3, it feels like we're on much more even turf here. I mean, we look at the redirects. Eye and Soren both breaking 330 redirects, 336, 332 respectively. Putting in quite the numbers all around, really. I mean, even Dropletto and NXED had over 200, which is not something you see commonly on the Brawlers, but everyone was putting in so much work in that near 30-minute game 2. So moving over to game 3 on Taiko Temple. I said it at the beginning, I feel like this is a Bozo Bunch map. I feel like they play well on this map. And curious to see how EKC is going to respond to this. We saw them change up their draft from game 1 to game 2 quite heavily, and it worked out pretty well. We'll have to see if they go to deny the X again, or if Awakenings demanded they do something different. But I like what they cooked there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Mako come out again.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm even curious if we might even see something like a Mako ban, disallowing that defensive force from Soren. Because Mako, and generally speaking, defensive goalies do tend to do pretty well on Taiko as well, right? So if you have a good goalie that can hold it down in the back while the chaos of the map can just unfold itself, you're looking very strong, you're looking very confident going into a map like this. So I'm curious to see what kind of game plan adjustments that both teams will be employing here, because both had a really good showing of their strengths today, of what they can do well. And that's why we're in a game 3, right? That's exactly why. They were able to find a win. They were able to force the situation. And I feel like this was a very hectic game towards the end, right? The core was going so fast all the time. It was rather difficult to follow, I feel like, at some points, simply just because the game was so intense, right? Because you had to do so much, and again, there was so little room for error. And I feel like Taiko Temple is another map where that can easily happen, right? Where core can just really be going everywhere all at once. So it also turns slowly into maybe a mental endurance game here. Who can keep up that top level of play the longest, and who's going to be cracking first, making those crucial mistakes first?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We see it all the time, especially on longer games, on longer series, and I mean that was certainly one of the longer games we've seen tonight. So going into Tycho is going to be interesting how this plays out. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the Mako ban, like you said, but it does leave the Luna on the table for Katsuna, of course. It wasn't able to do too much in game one. Bozo were very responsive to it. They shut it down early on, and I mean Tycho isn't particularly a great Luna map either because there's a giant obstacle in the way. But Katsuna is notoriously insane on the character. So if it is a Deadeye start, I think it's going to be a tough pick. But I think in general, I think I might be banning the Mako.
Yeah. Especially because Soren just had such a confidence performance on it as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be giving a character like that just back to him if he had such a strong showing on it. But again, you mentioned it as well. Deadeye starts or just generally awakening starts, they happen. They can completely throw off any kind of game plan or draft plan that you have. So we'll see what kind of awakenings we're going to be dealing with because they can very much warp this this character draft as well.
Yeah, there's a part of me that is like, what are the chances Bozo Bunch do something wild here? Where, say they went red side, if they banned Mako and then like first picked Atlas and Asher, and they just totally pinched the melee goalie pool and forced Soren to play ranged on this map, that would be crazy. I don't know if they would do it, but if they did, it might be very effective. But it is a heavy impact Spark of Rezil start here. So another Spark showing up, and heavy impact certainly. Well, this might be a moment where you have to look at the brawler pool, just because of this. You might have to look at the midfielder pool a little bit. The now on the table, the Zentaro, the X. But I always have those melee goalies, those big three. Other than Dubu, I don't know. It could be weird. EKC is second pick here. Bozo is picking first. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just go for the now first pick.
Yeah, the now first pick would just hold so much value, right? Heavy impact being such a great awakening for the now as well. I feel like with these awakenings, there's also a kind of conflicting philosophy going on, right? The Spark of Resilience being such a great awakening to just keep you alive, right? Giving you that extra HP and giving you the potential to snowball even further down the draft. Heavy impact, on the other hand, enabling you to just go and KO people, take them off the map as much as possible. So I do feel like with both of them active, we're probably going to be going more into a control area, even though Heavy Impact can enable for a lot of KO gameplay. The Spark of Resilience is just going to hold so much value at keeping them alive, which, like you said, the Now would fit in greatly, right? The Now would do such a good job, and on a map like Tycho as well, that is so close. You have so much influence on that Now pick. You have so much control over that midfield. And even better, you enable a forward pick like an X again. X having been such a high priority series as well, having had so much impact, is definitely something that should be considered by both teams as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting draft for sure. And EKC on that second pick, I think they're going to have to end up picking their goalie there. I think saving it for last might be a little bit risky. I mean, Brett's has been on the Finny all day. I don't think that's going to change. I think what they need to do is they're gonna need to pick the Mako because it is a heavy. If it's not banned out, right? If it's not banned out, which it very well might be on heavy impact start, they need to pick the Mako, and they're gonna need to pick their brawler, probably X. Like that might be their best course of action here in pick two. It looks like it will be the Rune banned out here by Bozo Bunch. So EKC will have the Mako on the table, assuming they don't ban it out. But it will be the Octavia. Interesting. So that means the now is open for Bozo Bunch, and they're going to first pick that for sure. Wow, there it is.
Yeah, it holds so much prio. It's so strong, but again, the now pick now leaves you open to get yourself a Mako or an X secure for yourself, which again, just great characters for this map, and also just great picks to make sure that the side of Bozo Bunch doesn't get. So I do wonder if EKC will be opting into that, right? Because they had such a good showing on both of these characters in that lab. And conceptually, they should be doing a pretty good job on Taiko Temple as well. And here we have it, X and Mako being locked in for EKC. Basically, so far, it's a run back of the same drafts we've seen before. We'll see if that continues, though, as Bozo Bunch will now look at their 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah, so far, pretty much what we've been expecting. It will be Asher Brawler, and that's looks like it's going to be Breads on the Rasmus goalie. I like that pick a lot on this map. It's very good against X as well. So far, pretty good. The final pick for EKC, though, there's the big question here, is what's Katsuna going to play? Will we see the Luna, or will we see a Juno? Will we see something else entirely? Because, I mean, this is not a great Luna start. It's not a great Luna map. So it will be the Juno. I think that makes a lot more sense here. Which is good. Same comp that they had last game. They'll just be running it right back. They have heavy impacts. They have a spark that they can go into if they want. It's safe. I like it. Bozo Bunch, pretty similar thing as well. Just changing it up on the goalie, going for the melee instead of the ranged goalie. Makes total sense. This looks like a really even matchup. Both goalies match up very well into the respective brawlers they're playing against. So this is going to be a close game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the drafts are so similar compared to last game, and last game was extremely close. With the main difference being that goalie pick for Bozo Bunch, having that more defensive goalie who can deal a little bit better with the force that a Juno and an X will be bringing to the table. So I feel like overall, definitely a better angle for Bozo Bunch this time around than last time. However, I feel like this game, I don't think any team has won this in draft. I feel like this is always going to come down to how they are able to execute their comp, because both drafts have a pretty decently clear game plan, and both teams obviously again have been having such a good performance so far as well. Very excited to see how they're going to be playing out this third game, this deciding game, to see who's going to be moving on in the lower brackets.
Yeah, game 3 of Bozo Bunch and EKC shaping up to be a heater so far. We see the Mag Souls on all the forwards. Heavy impacts on the goalies and sparks on all the forwards there. Interesting decision, but I think I like it. I'm curious that I didn't go for the heavy impacts. Also just went for the spark. They're just fully committed to that. So that's a really neat decision there. We'll see how that pans out for them, but this is for the series. Loser is eliminated. Winner goes on to face Sad Boys. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, and as we know it on maps with double barriers, both teams have now dropped one barrier pretty swiftly, but the second barrier is going to be a much more difficult one to be taking, as the attack from EKC is starting to build up. Core is being very oppressive on the side of Bozo Bunch. The Blobos will be taking that second barrier, as now Breads has to defend an open net. Core bouncing in between both of the teams still, though, as Bozo Bunch will try to find a way out of their half, but they're having a pretty rough time, with Katsuna doing a good job on the midfield.
Yeah, Katsuna is definitely going to be an issue. He can cover so much of the map, kind of cover both lanes as Juno, and a nice pass here to NXED, put Breads in a no-win situation. EKC will strike out first. Yeah, Katsuna can cover kind of both lanes on this map with the Blobos. Definitely gonna be difficult for Ian Dropletto, who their game plan is really just to kind of force one lane as much as possible. So a bit of an interesting polarity there, and how these teams are going to play around in the midfield.
Yeah, most definitely. Core does find its way onto the attack again for EKC, and a nice flip into X Ultimate will find the second goal as well. This game starting very much differently than the other two games before it. EKC really just having that force to just force it through the side of Bozo Bunch's defenses.
Solid start for EKC here. Bozo Bunch, though, with a good push off this kickoff. Dropletto burning the flip. Doesn't find any barriers, though. Soren also forced to flip, but will remain strong, holding it down. Katsuna able to get a barrier here on the return. Now we'll go back to the midfield. A nice little back pass there from Katsuna to get it away from Dropletto. They're trying to force it out of this corner. So far, the defense for EKC has been very efficient. Didn't have to do too much. Has been making very smart decisions. Finally, one barrier going down here from Dropletto, and gets killed for it as well. Katsuna with the Blobo on the wall. Picks up the KO. A nice flip here from Bread's Eye. Finds the redirect and finds the second barrier, though. Bozo Bunch in a reverse power play are actually gaining barriers and keeping their own alive. NXDD does have a flip available, and Katsuna's will be up shortly. But I is working on quite a bit of energy as well. As we see Bozo Bunch try and make some plays on this open goal. Bit of a whiff flip there from I. Snare Drum's coming out. Dropletto, a shot to the bottom. Doesn't quite get the angle he's looking for. Brings out the path splitter, and they'll just force it through. Bozo Bunch able to put themselves on the board there, 1-2.
Nice setup for Bozo Bunch to secure their first goal of the series. Gret does not have the flip to their name anymore, though, so energy economy very much in favor of EKC, as NXCD and Katsuna have the flip to their name. First barrier now dropping as well. Second one potentially following suit, as they're holding the flips for now. Not quite able to invest them just yet, but a KO being found by Bozo Bunch will immediately change the flow of the game. Flip has to come out from Katsuna. No barrier being dropped just yet.
Bozo Bunch struggling to find much on that power play. And Katsuna sniping away the second barrier. Means it's an open goal on Bozo's side of the field. A nice shot from Dropletto. Evens up one barrier here, but now Katsuna pushing back. Drops all the blobos, and Breads runs out of strikes. It's just going to float right past EKC. Going to take away set one very convincingly there, and Katsuna will be the MVP.
That is a scary MVP to have. No hotshot or 1-2 punch dropping in this draft, but we do have a spark of strength that could potentially be picked up. Primetime also holding a decently high prio. Just being able to have even more of those abilities, being even more oppressive with the blobos, or even other abilities, depending on who it falls down to. As we have a peak performance pickup for the side of Dropletto as well. Obviously, also another great awakening that synergizes with Spark of Resilience.
Second spark here. I mean, Katsuna did pick up a KO in that first set. Juno deals a sneaky amount of damage just over time, so... And of course, just having more potential stagger scaling for later is always going to be nice here. But you got to also look at that peak performance that Dropletto got. That's a huge awakening for this Asher. And if Dropletto is able to pick up any more sparks later on, it's just going to start to become very out of control with all the speed that this guy will be able to stack up. But right now, Bozo Bunch off with the first barrier, now having to defend a couple of their own, but keeping it held down as NXDD forced to back out there.
Katsuna is doing a really good job holding that core, allowing NXDD to regain some of that much-needed HP, as now a barrier drops on the side of Bozo Bunch. Soren walking up, actually, trying to get an even more offensive push going. Breads misses the flip on the core there as the second barrier drops as well. NXDD now on the offense and using the X Maximus excellently, as you might say, to get the first goal of the set.
And now EKC, they seem to be the ones rolling over Bozo Bunch, at least in these first couple sets, these opening points. Gonna see some energy coming up on both sides of forwards here. As Bozo Bunch look to make their push, but that drum and bass is just so difficult to get through. And EKC are actually able to bring down a barrier instead. They got 3 flips to work with. Bozo Bunch are about to have 2 versus Dropletto. Able to catch the flip. They get Soren's flip for that and both barriers. Katsuna also whips a flip. And just like that, Bozo Bunch now a big advantage in the set as I dribbling up the field. And now Secondary is going to be able to pop it right to Dropletto, who sinks it to the top corner. And Bozo Bunch will tie it up in the set.
More importantly as well, Bozo Bunch were able to find that goal without having to use Gret's flip there, so they do have that available for their next attack. Both teams holding on to one flip. Question is who's going to get more value out of it, as the core is now trying to find its way into the barriers, bouncing up and down as we love it on Taiko. A lot of damage being put into Gret here though, needs to be careful as NXDD is walking up, uses the flip, gets one barrier. Can they find a second one? No. Dropletto forces it over to the defensive end of EKC. Passes in between Soren and Katsuna, holding on to the core, but eventually the one barrier will be dropped here as Dropletto's trying to walk up, uses the Asher perfectly to get the second barrier as well. Bread's now wanting to get in on the fun, but is not allowed to as Dropletto finds the angle past Katsuna to find the second goal of the set for Bozo Bunch.
Now Bozo on their set point, looking to tie up the game. They've got the energy to work with. EKC a little bit lackluster in that department. Another good kickoff here for Bozo Bunch, but they don't really get anything off of it. They've been winning the kickoff, but Soren just has abilities to stop the corner offense. EKC end up getting the first barrier. Dropletto still looking for this first one. I setting up in that top side, but Soren finds a way out of it yet again. A bit of help from Katsuna now attacking the bottom. Bozo Bunch able to pick up a barrier. I does whiff the flip just a little bit. So that's not great, but core flip now coming out from Dropletto. A bounce off the center is going to get blocked out as they push from the bottom side. Soren forced to flip out of that one as Katsuna setting up the slimes defensively. Soren able to clear it out through the middle now. Dropletto and I looking to recover. Don't find too much. Nice clear from Breads. Gets it back around to Dropletto. A pass down to I. A shot to the top. Sets up the primary. It's absolutely perfect, and that brings down that second barrier. Now NXTD and Katsuna with flips available, but they got to get back up the field. Attack from top side. Core flip from Katsuna. Bank off the center. What a shot to bring down that barrier. And now it's both sides opened up. NXTD dribbling up the field with the shot. Goes for the top side. Breads calls it out with the death touch. And that one's going to get saved away. Erasmus moment there. But NXTD's got another opportunity potentially off the center. Katsuna having to jump back to catch it. But Dropletto's right there looking for the shot. Goes for the barrier beam. But the slime is in the way. A secondary from I. Enough to dribble it and win the strike war. Bozo Bunch will take set 2.
Bozo Bunch is really making such good use of their comp there, forcing up that core and not allowing to get in a back-to-back attack for the side of EKC as we're now going into this draft, and another spark will be found here. Does it go to Gret, or is Gret going to be able to pick up the rapid fire? Rapid fire it will be in the end, mainly because Soren doesn't necessarily want to pick up the spark. He would have to deny it because he has a heavy impact start. He's not necessarily wanting to stack sparks. And because of that, Dropletto is able to get another spark. And that's not just 2 sparks. You mentioned it before. That's 2 sparks. One of them being resilience and a peak performance. Dropletto now having so much speed to work with.
Yeah, that's really, really dangerous there. This is a good draft for Bozo Bunch. NXTD to get the extra special, and Katsuna picked up that glass cannon again, but allowing I to get cooldowns and now allowing Dropletto to get even more speed and the cooldowns, and Bread's also got a little bit of speed out of that, is very dangerous. I mean, look how fast Dropletto is moving. He's outpacing Katsuna just at base with that peak performance. It's a very scary awakening, and now with these sparks, things are actually starting to look very shaky for EKC, as we see right there. Bozo Bunch dominating that point. The question is, will they continue to dominate this set, or will EKC manage to find an answer?
It's so difficult for the side of EKC to really play this out, right? Because how do you deal with an Asher? You usually try to play around it. You cannot force through the Asher at all. And that is a lot more difficult to play around an Asher if she's basically, it feels like almost twice as fast as you. But you can also just take out Gret, play off of a player advantage. But again, Dropletto using that Asher excellently. And a beautiful pendulum swing from Obscure Breads, getting a reverse power play now in favor of Bozo Bunch.
Nice little shot around the hook there. Will ping 1 barrier, 2 barriers here from NXTD. Goes for the flip. It's blocked by the goal gates, though. Bouncing around in there. A lucky break for Bozo Bunch, but still in a tight situation. The EKC are pushing up into this bottom corner. Slime sending it back in. Another Blobbo gets set up with Dropletto. Winning some strike wars now in the midfield. Goes for the flip of his own down to I. Soren will rotate it back around, and Dropletto, though, able to recover here in the midfield. But enough. Snare drums coming out. Just catches the core. Soren goes back down to the bottom side here. Breads with a nice death touch brings it around. Now looking to set up the 2v1, but can't get up the field quite quick enough in overtime. The core moving a little bit too fast now. Soren rotates it back around. Bread's going to find a block, but NXTD is still looking for the opportunity. However, Dropletto in the corner. Gets past the barrier beam, though. And go back around down to I. A lot of rotations going on, but NXTD walks up with the X Maximus. That's the power play they're looking for. EKC with a moment to try and find their scoring opportunity. Blobbo blocked by Breads, goes for the flip, just waits it out, buys a lot of time here, but NXTD and Katsuna still in position. A risky clear from Breads, but it will get past Katsuna, who gets taken out in the midfield, and now Bozo Bunch have the power play. Breads up to Dropletto on the top side. NXTD bull rushes through the center, though, and is able to catch it. That's that super surge coming in. Core flip against the pass splitter from Soren. Clears it out, and Katsuna now back online, trying to get it over to NXTD, who's got the flip available, but they got to get it past this speedy Asher, who's hogging this top lane. They'll find it, but Breads with the pendulum swing gets it out of there. This is why Erasmus is so good into X. However, it's a double KO. It's only I left. NXTD took out the goalie, and EKC just pass it up the field. They'll tie the game now, 1-1, 1-1.
So many KOs being found from both teams there, just really making use of those power plays. And in the end, the side of EKC finds these 2 crucial KOs really well executed. And again, you can already kind of see resemblance, kind of the similar thing you saw at the end of the last game as well. The game's just getting really fast, right? And mistakes are just getting so much more worse if you do end up having them. So, Force just very punishing as it is right now.
Absolutely. And NXZD, speaking of punishing, just taking an absolute walloping there on his own side of the field as both barriers collapsing. Dropletto with the shot to the bottom, able to secure it, splitting the uprights between Soren and that Blobbo as well. Bozo Bunch now on a comfy set point.
A comfy set point indeed, and what I said it would be for them as well, as it will put them 1 set away from moving on in playoffs. But 1 barrier now does drop on the side of Bozo Bunch. A lot of damage being dumped into NXCD here, but Katsuna swiftly walking up, being oppressive with the Blobos, not quite able to get it past the defensive end of Bozo Bunch though, as the core still is being kept in their half. There is a clear found in the end as 1 barrier drops and Dropletto finds a nice KO on XCD. The attack has not stopped yet. Soren doing a beautiful job though, holding on to the second barrier.
Yeah, and earning quite a bit of energy in the process. Has to flip a little bit early here, keep that barrier from falling. NXZD is back, and we're back to even playing field. NXZD looking to change that though, popping the X Maximus early, doesn't find too much. Dropletto a little bit too tanky there. With all of that stagger awakenings. They got the core in a good position. Katsuna and Soren both up in the midfield though. NXZD able to bring down that barrier with that pressure. Now it's an open goal on Bozo Bunch's side. NXZD flying in with that super surge. Doesn't quite find the core as I and Dropletto now looking to even up the barrier situation. Katsuna jumping in the drum and bass, getting it past. A nice pendulum swing there from Breads. Keep it away from the X there. Pass footer coming out from Dropletto. Both sides opened up now. And Dropletto, neither of them can get to the core quite in time. And Dropletto getting taken off by the Blobbo yet again on the wall past NXD. Bread's got a flip to get that one out of there. And it's another power play for EKC. Doing their best to try and keep it away. And in the power play, just goes for the shot to the bottom. Sword's got nothing to respond to that. Bozo Bunch stealing that point away. They'll claim the set, and Obscure Breads, the MVP of that set. Fight or Flight, Perfect Form, Catalyst, another spark. Some crazy awakening showing up here.
If you are Dropletto, you are rejoicing in this one, because you almost have too much to choose from. There's a Spark of Agility, which would be a 3rd spark. Obviously has to be denied, but you still have Fight or Flight to choose from. You have Catalyst, you have Perfect Form, you have so many good options here. So incredibly happy as Dropletto finds that Fight or Flight, and more crucially finds more speed. I feel like EKC is gonna has a very uphill battle ahead of him into this last set, because that's just such a difficult Asher to deal with.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Speed is Asher's weakness, and when she's able to get quite a lot of it, it becomes very difficult to deal with, and that's exactly what Dropletto has now, along with all the stagger and the Fight or Flight here. It's going to be so hard to KO him. Katsuna's got to get lucky with a good Blobbo to knock him off the edge. With that Deadeye, that glass cannon, that might be their weird little win condition there. We'll have to see. So far, they've got a solid defense. They've got 2 barriers staying up. Soren is still able to just be Mako, which is pretty big in and of itself, as long as they can keep the pressure on. But so far, it's Bozo Bunch with the offense, keeping things going. Having a little bit of difficulty on the second barrier. Soren going to flip here. Dropletto going to flip in return. What a save from Soren, but able to recover it and find the barrier regardless. Now it's an open goal. Dropletto dashing up. Quick little redirect there to find the points. And Bozo Bunch will strike first.
And it kind of seems like the side of EKC is just permanently stuck on defense, right? You do have Soren and Katsuna trying their best to get the core up front to NXCD to make use of that X strength of just forcing it through. But Dropletto and Dret are just being so oppressive and just not allowing any core to go through for free. As NXCD finds a flip from the barrier, but neither drops just yet. The second one does find its way down after a bounce. As the core is now going back and forth, Katsuna has a flip available to them as well if they do need to use it.
Or flip here from Katsuna a little bit early on, just to get some space, but Bozo Bunch quick to recover and regain possession. So they're looking for this final barrier. Nice strike forward here from Katsuna. Breads just constantly pendulum swinging this thing away from NXZD. The only one stuck at level 9, by the way. Rasmus is just a hard deny against X sometimes, and a nice core flip here from I as Bozo Bunch working their magic in this bottom side. Just feels like NXZD hasn't been able to do too much. Breads just hits him with the primary anytime the core is near him and totally shuts down everything.
Yeah, it is so difficult for the side of EKC to play this properly, but when they can find a KO just like that, they do have glimpses of a proper attack being built. As Katsuna now gets the core up front, but Breads again not giving anything for free. Not a single barrier has dropped so far. He's holding on to it so well, and Dropletto back on the map. We're back to a 3v3, and now we're back to EKC getting this oppressive attack going. Hey, Bozo Bunch.
One barrier gone here. Dropletto and I looking for the second one. We're going to have to get through Soren's core flip, though, but Breads also has one. Burns it here, actually. Just passes it into I. The strike shot sends it back just a little bit. Now both teams rushing over in the foot race in the midfield. Dropletto's the one going to get the possession here, but back down to the bottom side. NXZD taking quite a lot of damage. Has to burn the flip just to stay alive, but is still really hurt there. Katsuna also burning the flip a bit early there. A bit of a wasted use of energy there from EKC as they are getting backed into a corner. Sword also have to burn the flip on the defense. And things are looking a little bit rough. They're trying to get some offense going, but Breads is just keeping this core away from that barrier as far as possible. Trying to give I and Dropletto as many chances as he can. I with a shot on the barrier. Dropletto able to find it. Now it's an open goal. I's got a flip up. This could be it. Dropletto looking for the pass. I burning the flip a little bit early. But still, one barrier remaining, and a pendulum from Bread's gonna knock Katsuna off the map. I in the bottom side, the primary's enough to sink it past Soren. Bozo Bunch will take the win in Game 3. EKC getting knocked out here, and Bozo Bunch will be moving on.
What a performance from both teams in this series, but in the end, Bozo Bunch is reigning supreme, as they will be facing Sad Boys in the next series now to move on in the playoff bracket. And I just really feel like it got so difficult to play for EKC towards the end, right? There was just so much oppressive force coming out from that Asher, from that Now, being piloted by Dropletto and Brett so well, and also Bread's not allowing NXCD to do anything on the offense with these pendulum swings. So in the end, just really well executed from Bozo Bunch.
Yeah. Absolutely. They played a solid all series and really clutched up there when it mattered. I gotta say, I love that Rasmus goalie pick there from Breads. It seemed very quiet, but that was because he was just not letting NXZD do anything. It's a very good matchup, and Breads played it really well, but I and Dropletto had solid drafting, solid synergy as always, and just made Soren's life so difficult to contend with, always having to defend. 233 redirects on the goalie, 117 saves versus Bread 67. You see right from this stat screen where the pressure was the whole game. Absolutely insane. Even though EKC ended up getting more KOs, Katsuna had the build, had the damage. It just didn't matter. Dropletto was just moving too fast and making things way too hard.
Yeah, most definitely, but great showing in the end. Great showing. It's exciting series. I'm happy we got to cast one of those. That is always a pleasure to be casting in. And obviously we got more series coming up as well, right?
Yeah. Coming up next, it's Bozo Bunch, who we just saw. They're gonna get to play against Sad Boys, waiting in exile, a chance to reclaim their throne. The Sad Boys have come back into the town to try and make a play on that first place spot. So this is going to be a heater of a match. Be our final match of the night. Sad Boys versus Bozo Bunch. That's coming up next. So don't go anywhere. We're going to throw it to a bit of a quick break, and we'll be right back with that.